the CIA does is they teach you how to deal with head trash. What is head trash?
Head trash is all the terrible things that you say about yourself in your head. That's the colloquial term that we use is head trash. I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I wish my smile was better, I lost my true love when I was 14, whatever, right? My parents didn't love me because I wasn't a good enough kid. Whatever it was, all those things are head trash. They're subjective thoughts that you have because of your experience that don't have any basis in objective reality. CIA teaches us how to deal with that to a point. They teach us how to counter that when we are operationally active so that we don't get distracted by the head trash going on. They teach you how to handle stress, mitigate cortisol levels in your bloodstream, lower your heart rate so that you can get back to the task at hand.
How do they do that?
Techniques like box breathing.
What's that?
Breathe in 4 counts, hold 4 counts, breathe out 4 counts, breathe in 4, just.
The goal there is to reduce your heart rate, to reduce your blood flow, to reduce the speed at which the cortisol that's being released from your brain gets spread to the rest of your body. So you can start to take back your physiological movements and actions in a hope that it also brings back your cognitive functions and capabilities.
Shalom, Kal Halalim La Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Wahawar Chakwadash, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of GMS, who I learned this truth from, and salutations and blessings to you elect, starting with 144,000 on down. So that was a quick video of, I don't know the guy's name, but he's all over social media, TikTok, Instagram. He's an ex-CIA operative, I guess. And he was just mentioning something called head trash. Now, head trash, he explained it briefly. It says here from chat, head trash is a slang term for negative mental clutter. It refers to self-defeating thoughts, doubts, limiting beliefs, or mental noise that distracts you and reduces performance. In psychology and coaching contexts, it often includes inner criticism, right? Limiting beliefs, emotional baggage, mental distractions. Okay, it's not a clinical diagnosis. So this is very important because the brothers, man, we go through a lot of things, physiologically in our bodies. We go through a lot of stress and we deal with a lot of things from the world, in the truth, spiritually, which translates to your physical as well. All right, it crosses over. So we have to really make sure that we keep an eye on it. A lot of people in the world, they don't keep an eye on their diet. They don't keep an eye on their, I'm not saying measure your blood pressure every time. I'm just saying, is your blood pressure high? Are you palpitating, right? Are you sweating a lot? Are you anxious? Do you notice you're more anxiety prone, racing thoughts, strange thinking patterns? Right, these are all signs that your spirit's not fine, and we're not going to be ever fine in this kingdom. I'm not saying we're going to be here in the lotus position on a mountain, meditating, but these things cause great damage in the body. So I typed in, what is the threat of perpetual high cortisol from stress? Chronic elevation of cortisol is damaging, right, to metabolic, to metabolism, raises blood pressure or blood sugar, right? And that's another thing people don't get. Cortisol raises blood sugar. It actually increases, if I'm not mistaken, the term is gluconeogenesis, which is a glucose being created from your body. Your body can create it, but one of the main reasons is when you're in stress, right? Your body creates glucose, and your blood sugar rises, right? Increase in appetite and craving, especially for sugar and fat. Immune system suppresses immune response, higher risk of infection, right? That's why if you're working out, you're hardly sleeping, you're getting like 4 hours of sleep, and you're working your regular job and you're trying to keep your diet, you're gonna get sick. You already feel sick. You feel lethargic, you feel weak, mentally clouded, and you're gonna get sick. You're gonna wake up one day and you're gonna have phlegm and maybe a fever and whatnot. So that's your immune system taking a big hit. Promotes chronic inflammation, which is terrible, right? A lot of us, majority of us, have inflammatory situations in our body, chronic inflammation. Okay, whether that's hepatitis, your liver inflaming, gingivitis, your gums inflaming, whatever part of your body. There's a lot of us deal with inflammation because we live in the society. Well, that's one of the curses. All right, that's actually one of the curses of burning in the book of Deuteronomy. Let me actually get that. The book of Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28:22, the Lord Yahweh shall smite thee with the consumption, which goes into lung disease, tuberculosis when you look it up, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. See, and it actually said inflammation. You can't make it up. That's one of the curses, man, especially coupled with this diet, right? The Western diet. Hotly pursue. Dalak, the word is dalak. All right, to kindle, hotly pursue, to burn. It doesn't feel good, when your body's in a state of inflammation, it is not in a state of healing, period. So promotes chronic inflammation, paradoxically worsening autoimmune and inflammatory disease, right? Which a lot of brothers, they got things like allergies. You're not supposed to have allergies. That means your own immune system, there's something wrong, because your body's supposed to process any kind of pollen, any kind of whatever, your spores, any kind of thing that you're allergic to, or have this response in your body. Your sinuses swell up, or your own narrow. You got a hard time breathing. Your eyes tear up, they redden. Some brothers are allergic to damn honey products, bee pollen. You're not supposed to be allergic to bee pollen. Bee pollen is one of the most top healing foods on the planet. Cardiovascular, elevates blood pressure, raises risk of atherosclerosis, heart attack, and stroke. Neurological, shrinks hippocampus, impaired memory and learning, alters amygdala and prefrontal cortex function, more anxiety, poor decision making, rashness. And in these times, the Lord said, hey, we got to be like a soldier, make not haste in time of trouble. Well, a majority of these people, they're on the fly. Whatever kind of stimulation they get, whether it's good or bad, they react very hotly, very, very anxiously, worrisome. Increased risk of depression. Musculoskeleton, breaks down muscle and connective tissue, weakens bone density, osteoporosis risk. Reproductive hormonal, disrupts sex hormones, infertility, low libido, menstrual irregularity, right? In men, lowers testosterone, right? In women, can worsen estrogen, progesterone imbalance. So this is for you sisters too, you women out there. You gotta watch yourself. You gotta watch that. High cortisol, sleep recovery, blunts deep sleep, slows wound and tissue healing. So then he mentioned in the video something called box breathing. So I typed in, does box breathing increase CO2 and have health benefits? Because he said pretty much breathe in for 4 and hold for 4. Whenever you hold your breath in a controlled manner, you're increasing CO2 in the body, and that has physiological responses in your body in a good way if done controlled and with a little experience. Okay, whichever system, whatever method of learning, breathing you're doing, they all have benefits, brothers. So try to get into some breathing exercises. I know it sounds cliche. Take a deep breath, and feel the air. And I'm telling you, if you breathe in for a count of, like he said, 4, really 7, up to 7, 8, and then you hold it and you keep holding it 10, and then 15 seconds and 20 seconds, and then you breathe out slowly, you're gonna have an amazing benefit, man. You're gonna feel so much better. You do like 10 rounds of that. That's like a round of oxygenation. Some people have oxygenation chambers they go into to because they lack oxygen in their body. It's not a matter of the fact that you're just breathing. So just because you're breathing, it doesn't mean your body. It can mean your body takes in the oxygen, but how it utilizes oxygen is another thing. Your body may not even utilize it properly. That's why you have something called VO2 max, which is a measurement of how much oxygen your body can utilize and absorb. To absorb and utilize in the body, oxygen has so many actions and purposes in the body. Okay, that's one of the main things. You can go without water for a few days, but you can't go without air for a few minutes, period. Right? So the CO2 effect, breathing less frequently raises arterial CO2, which is carbon dioxide, compared to normal fast breathing. And if you notice yourself shallow breathing, this is another thing, brothers. Make sure you understand how you're breathing. Are you breathing with your clavicle breathing, shallow, short breathing, very fast? That's very bad. Are you breathing with your top part of your lungs only? You really should be trying to breathe with your abdominal and your lungs all the way up. Okay? If you notice that you're breathing very shallow, you need to work on your breathing. Okay? Running's not going to help. I'll tell you that's going to make it worse. Okay? That slight rise widens blood vessels, vasodilation, right? Which is dilation means opening. So opening of your blood vessels for what? Improves oxygen delivery to tissue via the Bohr effect, which is something you can read, BOHR effect. All right, that's a real thing. So you dilate, you open, you widen your blood vessels, so more oxygen-rich blood can flow, and blood carries what? Nutrients, right? The scriptures say the life is in the blood. Okay, a lot of us got blood, not clots. Hopefully you don't have blood clots, but blockages, stagnation, which can lead to blood clots, which leads to what? Strokes, heart attacks, death. No joke, man. All right. So health benefits: autonomic balance, activates parasympathetic system, which is your rest and digest, right? Lowers heart rate and blood pressure. Your sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight, which is what the majority of us are practically locked in every day. We're on that fight or flight. So that's why it's so important to chill. Especially right now, it's a Sabbath. It's a Sabbath right now. Chill. Read the scriptures, man. Do some breathing. Pray to the Most High. Rest and digest. Eat. Stress control reduces cortisol, dampens anxiety, stabilizes mood. Very true, man. I'm telling you. You may feel like complete shit, like your life is in complete, shambles. You do 10 rounds of breathing, you just forgot what you're stressed out about. You have clear-headedness. Focus, regular rhythm, and trains brain activity, improving concentration and emotional control. And that's another thing. When we get good at breathing, there's something called rhythm breathing. And if you notice in the planet, in the earth, how Yahweh Shem Yahushai and the elect created everything has a rhythm. Everything is cyclical. Everything has a cycle, right? You have your 4 seasons. Within those 4 seasons, you have your different rhythms. You have the rhythm of the animals. You have your own rhythm with husbandry, cultivation. When to build. As Solomon said, the wisest man, right next to Yahushai, who was the same person, but spirit. But he said there is a time and place for all things under the sun, which means a rhythm. Okay. Respiratory efficiency trains lower, deeper breathing, reducing chronic hyperventilation patterns. Performance, sometimes used by athletes, military, and martial artists for calm under pressure. Okay, now let me get some scriptures actually. Where did I have that? This is the book of Sirach 30 and 17. I'll start at actually 15. Health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth. There is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart. Death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness. That's facts. And guess what? We are experiencing a very bitter life. Matter of fact, we are located where? In America. The word America goes back to the Latin Amerigo, right? Which means bitter. Okay? But guess what? We have a job to do. We're not supposed to just give in to that bitterness and assume the fetal position and just die. We're supposed to fight for this thing, fight for the crown, for the incorruptible crown, which means we got to take care of our bodies, man. You see the apostles, they've been pushing for so many years, but now ever more about health, walking, diet, using certain ingredients, right? Don't use these cooking oils, use these, do this, do that, right? Because it's very important. You know, why would you want to, you're already in hell, why would you want to optimize more hell for yourself? Don't you want to optimize a little health, a little relaxation, right? It only makes sense. 18, delicates poured upon a mouth shut up are as messes of meat set upon a grave. What good doeth the offering unto an idol, for neither can it eat nor smell, so is he that is persecuted of the Lord. He seeth his eyes, he seeth with his eyes, and groaneth as an eunuch that embraceth a virgin and sigheth. And here's the point: give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thine own counsel. Which is what? Self-criticism. I'm not good enough. Oh, I went through this. Oh, I'm not this. I didn't get to this stage in life, or whatever the case is, right? Old traumas, old injuries. You know, brothers come from all kinds of walks of life, so these things will attack you, man. And sevenfold, because you're in the truth. Them demons are like, oh, okay, he went through this. Okay, let's keep bringing that back to him, you know, in his mind, right? The gladness of the heart is the life of man, which the word heart is lab, meaning mind. So the gladness of your mind is the life of man, right? Even when you feel like shit, even when you don't want to work out, you trick your mind. You still get ready. Even though you don't want to do shit, you just do it. You fake it until you make it, as they say. Because you can, like Apostle Tahar was saying, I think last week, I was watching the In Class live, and he was saying, look, sometimes I don't want to get up and work out, but he still tricks his mind. He's still getting ready, puts his vest on, do this, do that, and then by the time he's out the door, he's already feeling better. You trick your mind, even though you don't want to do it. You know, the calamity and the injury is not the fact that you don't want to do it, right? People get caught up in that. I don't want to do it, so therefore I'm not going to do it. No, you can feel the feeling, but still do it. That's where the real benefits come in. You know, and that's how you build a habit, right? I don't want to walk today, but I'm going to go for a walk anyway. And you feel good. You say, wow, that feels amazing. So the next day, you have more incentive to go for that walk, right? And the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. Love thine own soul, and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee. For sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein. Envy and wrath shorten the life, and carefulness bringeth aid before the time. A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet. So hence your mind is good, even though you're in a shit condition. Your mind is good, hence you're gonna take care of your diet. If you feel like shit already, and you're nothing but self-criticism, and, well, brother, we're in hell, and we're in Babylon, and, you know, we ain't shit, and we're worms, and, you know, you're not gonna care about your diet. Well, we're gonna get the new bodies anyway, Ak. we gotta take care of the body we have now. Okay, as low degree as it is, these bodies are still amazing and capable of some greatness. Now let me get this in the GNT. I'm gonna start at verse 18. The finest food means nothing if you are too sick to eat it. It might as well be offered to an idol. But there is no point in offering food to an idol. It can't eat it or smell it. It is just the same with someone whom the Lord has afflicted. He looks at his food and sighs, like a castrated man hugging a young woman. Don't deliberately torture yourself by giving in to depression. Right? Very important, man. Very important, man. Depression is a demon. It can actually be your calamity. It can make you acquire bad habits. As I said, you're going to fall into the rhythm of terrible thinking patterns, self-criticism, doubt. You know, demons can attack you very much easier. Okay, you know, you might be jealous of brothers who are taking care of their diet, and that's way off. You're like, you know, you got these wicked thoughts now because you ain't doing shit. You're not taking care of yourself, and now you got demons bothering you, saying, "Oh, look at that guy. He thinks he's all healthy, and he's this and that." Brother, we're just trying to better our situation as best we can with the tools that we have at hand. Okay? And the Lord gave us tools. It says, happiness makes for a long life and makes it worth living. Enjoy yourself and be happy. Now in proper balance. Using the world as not abusing it, as Paul said. Right? Using the world as not abusing it. That doesn't mean, oh, I gotta be happy. Prosperity doctrine. I gotta be happy. I gotta do what makes me happy. No, in proper balance and measure. Okay, this is still Babylon the Great. It says, enjoy yourself and be happy. Don't worry all the time. Worry never did anybody any good, and it has destroyed many people. It will make you old before your time. Jealousy and anger will shorten your life. See? And anger, man, that's another thing, man. That's another thing. I'll tell you, I'll share one thing when you look it up deeper. Each organ, you have Eastern and Western medicine. Eastern being like Chinese medicine. And Chinese medicinal philosophy, their methods, all organs correspond with elements. And pretty much emotions also correspond with organs. So for example, since I mentioned or the scripture says jealousy and anger will shorten your life. When you get anger, you can go look this up. Anger is associated with your liver. Okay? So meaning when you get angry, you're going to negatively affect your liver. Your liver, on the element, as an element, it's associated with wood, right? As I'm saying in the Chinese philosophy, right? Your liver is associated with wood. When you build a fire, right? That anger, the wood starts to kindle. It rises to your heart. That's why Edomites, when they get angry, they get red in their chest, and their neck, and their face, because that anger is a fire. Same thing with us. That anger rises to your heart, and what happens? A lot of angry people, they'll start feeling pain in their chest, tightness. I got tightness in my chest, right? Oh, I got a heart attack. I got a stroke. I got this. I got that. Because you're giving yourself to anger. You can feel the emotion of anger, but it's a different thing by consciously giving into it. Just being in that mode, you know? That's why they tell you, Esau will tell you, yo, when you're angry, when you have a big argument with somebody, don't go and drive a car. You know, when I used to drive my motorcycle and I got my license, that's the first thing they said. They said, look, the guy's like, I've been riding for 30 years. If you're really distraught, and even though I did it, just, you know, and I seen it, I'm like, nah, this is bugged out. I can't be driving this bike because my thinking is all messed up, and you got to really be on your P's and Q's when you're on a motorcycle. But they told you, man, if you really have a bad case of anger, or you got some bad argument, don't go out and on your bike. You're gonna die. You know, you're gonna crash. Same thing with a car. You're safer, but still, you're not in the right thinking space, right? That's why you see a lot of bugged out people. They lane change. They don't show their blinker. They just, they're like boats on the road, doing swerving and shit erratically, cutting you off, showing you the finger, road rage, right? You can tell a person's spirit by the way they drive their car, because you're driving the car. The car is just a vehicle. The mind is you, right? You're guiding the car, and you got a lot of people that are just bugged out, angry, just bitter. Fuck you, I'm gonna cut you off. It says, a cheerful person with a good attitude will have a good appetite and enjoy his food. See? Very important, man. Very important. And one more scripture I just wanted to get, because it mentioned doubt as well as one of the head trash. I like that term, head trash. This is 2 Ezra 16:75. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, say the Lord power. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. Okay, so balance and measure and everything. So I hope that was edifying. Kahalal Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Shalom.